All right, friends, we're going to do another reaction video to Jason Blaha. It's T-Bud. We're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself, Jason Blaha. So this video, Blaha says, you will be more aesthetic if you train every muscle group. Isn't that really the goal? Huh. All right.
If you want to actually be aesthetic, you have to develop every muscle in your body. Hey,
Look, man, aesthetic just means you have low body fat. That's it. So you can see what's underneath the hood, okay? Boy, yeah, I would say if the muscles themselves were underdeveloped, well, they're not really popping, are they? You don't just want to be, you don't want to just have low body fat and the muscles aren't popping. Yeah, at least a bit.
everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. It's something I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. Again, this is one of those things where I've had.
But I want to hear the expert on it, the foremost expert on aesthetics, Jason Blaha, power lifter turned bodybuilder all of a sudden, who hated bodybuilding, thought it was G for P and all this kind of weird stuff. He used to scream about it in his videos. I would love to pop it up in this video right now, just flash it there, where, you know, how bad he talks about bodybuilding. Oh, God. Now he loves it. Oh, he's got a crowd. He's got clients now. He's training people. Okay.
To learn this the hard way myself. Again, having come from a powerlifting background, strength background.
Powerlifting background. What is that exactly? That's it right there. You're watching. That's powerlifting. Lift a heavy weight up and drop it. Lift it up and down. Up and down.
Has not
See?
left me
Up
with the
and
most
down.
aesthetic
Up and down.
physique. And as I've continued to work on that, and I've been working on that, for close to a year.
You gotta say, that could be like mental illness, man. Somebody could be watching this 100 years in the past and going, what is this guy doing? He mentally ill or something, dude? Kind of looks like it.
This point, and I've made a lot of progress. This is something I have come to realize, having come from a different background from that.
Wow, he looked mentally ill there doing that, actually.
Even though I've coached people who do physique stuff,
mental illness.
is we really can't leave any muscle underdeveloped. All right, any muscle that you have that is underdeveloped is going to be a glaring weakness. Okay.
Yeah, if it's underdeveloped, of course it's going to be a weakness. It's going to look underdeveloped. Hello.
And it doesn't mean you don't have to work inside of your individual genetics. Obviously, different people are going to have different structures.
It's kind of obvious. If you're bodybuilding, you want to work on your weak points first, and then work on everything else after that. So work on the weakest stuff first, and then work on all the other stuff. Yeah.
Of different shapes, but the way I've even seen it put by really some of the better coaches I've met, who even coach like natural physique pros in different divisions. I've seen.
I like how he says it's natural physique pros, because Blah is all about drugs, the magic supplements, dude.
Many of them say, look, for that purpose, like, you don't worry about your genetic structure. You don't train around your genetics. Like, you let your genetics pick what division you compete in.
Yeah, but Jason Blaha injects genetics, plant genetics inside himself, toxic plant genetics, to create a cosmetic look. Yes.
Job is to develop everything, right? You need to build every muscle, and then you diet down to the appropriate body fat for your type of competition.
Oh, well, why not just use drugs? Testosterone to blow up like a balloon with these sarcoplasmic muscles, and then use cutting drugs like anabolics to drop the triglyceride in the fat cell. Hey, why not just do that? Hey, Blaha, isn't that what you're doing? You're taking tests, you said, and Primo, right? So testosterone, that grabs more glycogen in the muscle because it's a wasting drug. It's for wasting, so it's going to grab more of this energy into the muscle in the form of glycogen, and then you're taking Primo, which is going to drop the triglyceride in the fat cells, giving you the illusion cosmetically that you are built and ripped. Yes.
Right? You figure out which one you have the right structure for, then you diet to the appropriate level of body fat for it. He goes, but you need to develop everything.
Let's get this straight, people. He's on drugs. doing this cosmetically, artificially, this fake look. And he's going to tell you how to do it naturally and natural shows. He's going to tell you, explain to you how to do this naturally when he never did it himself ever. That makes absolutely no sense.
And I've seen that said by more than one person who really.
Not even his powerlifting is natural. He's injecting strength in him. And then he's going to tell you, hey, man, you should do 5x5. What?
Quite frankly, produce quite.
He's injecting strength to lift that heavy weight. He wasn't trying to accumulate strength to lift a heavy weight. He wasn't building it up naturally. You'd have to be crazy to believe that.
A few pro card holders. And isn't that idea true when we're discussing these things? Isn't it true?
Listen to what he's talking about. Pro card. He's talking about these artificial fake drug addictive sports. They're drug addiction. They're based on drug addictions. These sports, cosmetic.
For everyday aesthetics. When you think of someone who really has a good physique, when you see them next to someone with a better physique, almost always what do you see? The person with the better physique is just more.
Yeah, a better physique, it means just more developed. That's all. It could be look, you could have a person that's natural, have a nice natural physique, okay? And then you take somebody that took cosmetics, like steroids. You're going to say, well, they have a better physique. Well, it's fake. It's man. It's cosmetic. See what I mean? You can't compare the two. This is ridiculous.
Well-rounded. They don't have as many weak points. They just built everything. And this is something I am learning that I really have to do. Yes, we know my arms need to come up, right?
If you're taking steroids, cosmetics, you have weak points, so there's got to be something wrong with you. You know what I mean? That's just crazy. That's like Blaha.
My arms are a big deal. Obviously, I have to get leaner. I've got to tighten up the loose skin. You know.
Yes, my arms are terrible. I have to tighten up the loose skin. I have to get this, that. Okay, yeah, sure, Blaha.
We see in all this, which happens as I continue to lose body fat. But I was over 300 pounds at one time before I started lifting.
Here's the thing: if Blaha is complaining of having such terrible arms, then why isn't he focused on building his arms? Why doesn't he just build his arms? Just focus on that first. Yeah, bring up all the terrible body parts you have, Blaha. See what I mean? Why are you doing all these exercises? Just focus on those things. And as far as that loose skin, well then focus later on trying to tighten up that skin. Yeah.
So, you know, we tighten these things up, and I'm almost 50 years old at this point. You know, so we've got to tighten it up. But the thing is, you really can't leave anything under.
I love him. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 47, but I'm almost 50. Bro, you look like you're 85 going on 86.
Right, because anything that's undertrained is going to be noticed. Like you guys can see right there, walking away from the camera, you can see where my strong points are, both genetically and due to the way I train.
I don't see anything, man. You look like an ordinary guy, man. What are you talking about?
For powerlifting, I think my lats, my hamstrings, my quad, this is all jacked. My calves are genetic, but I've even learned that I need to train them.
Blah's funny. He reduced his body fat, taking these cutting drugs and whatever else, man, and then he got a little bit puffy. He looks so underdeveloped because he's never built any muscle. He's never really built anything real.
Okay?
Not even his lifting strength is real. He takes drugs to lift a weight. That's just crazy. His lifting strength is fake. He injects strength, and his physique is artificial too. He has to inject testosterone and cutting drugs like Primobolan, he said. So, yeah, I wouldn't trust him, man. I don't know who would want to hire him as their coach.
And everything though, but you can look at all that. You can tell that my triceps need more work, my biceps. You can see my rear delts, my side delts, all of that.
I don't see anything there, Blaha. Rear delts, side delts, or your triceps. I don't see anything.
Needs work, okay? And if a person doesn't train their calves, you notice. person doesn't train their forearms, you're going to notice.
I don't train my calves, and guess what? People notice they're big. So I don't know what you're talking about, man. God damn, man. I don't train them. I built them. There's a difference. I'm not training them to do circus acts like you, lift a heavy weight. I built them. There's a difference. Training to lift a heavy weight and to build muscle. Which one do you want to do? You want to train to do circus acts or do you want to build muscle? Which one is it, Blaha? See what I mean? So you got to come into the gym and you got to lose muscle to gain muscle. You have to damage it to gain it.
And you might not notice at first with an untrained eye until they stand next to someone who has everything put together. Okay?
I got a trained eye. You look ordinary. Your legs look ordinary. You look very ordinary.
You'll notice where their differences are. I mean, that was something I noticed because apparently, as I've realized in certain situations, the camera doesn't do me as much justice as I'd like. I don't have the best lighting. That's the thing I noticed even when I got in the gym around a bunch of guys, hardcore gym guys on gear. I thought it was fascinating. Actually, many of them had a better overall physique, more put together. They all had better arms than me, though. They all had better arms. But you could really see the details of things, of the wider back, the quads, all that. They ended up having a better V-taper just because my back was wide enough. The shoulders are wide enough. So you see those things. But then I also realize, there are things I have to work on. But it's true of everyone. But you notice that when you get people next to others, someone who looks good and has maybe a dominant body part or two, that really might stand out when you see them by themselves. But when you see them next to someone else who lifts, that person who is just better, more well-rounded development, you're going to notice. And we all notice it. Okay, we all notice it. And so my point here is, if you're going to look good, you really do need to train everything. You can't have muscles that you ignore, right? You can't have muscles that you ignore.
Again, he does no eccentric work here. How can he get any morphological or architectural changes in his body if he doesn't do any eccentric work? It's all concentric. It's all push work. He's pushing. You're pushing. You're pushing. There isn't any stretch on the muscle fiber. Look at this.
You can't ignore your upper chest. You can't ignore your rear delts. You can't ignore your forearms. You can't ignore...
Is that not considered a half rep? People are always complaining about, you're not doing full range. Well, is Blaha doing full range? Look at this. He stops right here and then he goes up.
Your calves.
He goes up and then he stops right there again. He goes up.
Or anything. You can't.
He goes up to the top. I don't even know if he's the full lockout. You don't really need to lock out, but whatever. And then he stops right here. And then he brings it. How come it's not going all the way down? How come that weight is not touching his chest? That weight should be touching the side of his chest, literally touching his shoulder.
Because then you're going to have something underdeveloped. Can you have favored? Sure. Is anyone ever going to look worse because they have more bicep? Probably not. Right? Unless they're insanely imbalanced, but even then they still look pretty decent if they got delts and biceps. So there's certain muscles you really are never going to go wrong just because we expect to see them big on people who lift. Ironically, arms, my worst body part. But you can't have anything that lacks. You can't have anything that you ignore, or you're just simply not going to look good. And here's my point. You're going to go to the gym anyways. You're going to put in the time anyways. And then we come over to that other point when it comes to health benefits.
Even this exercise, what is he doing here? There's no eccentric at all.
Aside, even looking good naked. Let's set that aside. Okay?
There's no eccentric, man. He's not even touching his forehead.
How about the health benefits? We know the more muscle you can gain, the better. So your muscle groups...
The more muscle you can gain, the better? Well, I mean, it's good to have muscles so that you expand the satellite cell pool. and get rid of these senescent cells. That's the whole point in bodybuilding, really. The whole point is, look, here's the point of bodybuilding. You say, oh, I want to extend my lifespan. I'm doing it for health purposes or whatever. You want to look younger and stuff like that. Well, you're not going to look younger if you're a laborer going to a gym, laboring every single day. That definitely is not going to happen. You're not going to build any muscle going every day to a gym, and neither is that healthy for you. That's not healthy for you. See what I mean? None of that is healthy. Now, if you want to expand the satellite cell pool, then you want to come in very, very periodically to the gym and lift. Yeah, so you can expand the satellite cell pool, get rid of some of these senescent cells, myogenic decline, and you'll build some muscle. You'll actually build muscle. Yeah, isn't that amazing? So if you lift periodically, you'll actually lift muscle. Yeah, you'll build muscle, muscle. Yeah. There you go. And you will not have aged yourself or your face like crazy being a lifting slave or accelerated aging. You're not accelerating aging doing that either. Going in there being a slave. Huh. See what I mean? Are there some benefits to lifting? Well, there's some benefits to it, but there are no benefits if you're doing this like the way Blaha's doing it, laboring and doing so much concentric work and everything. He's not even focused. He's not even focused on getting micro damaging these fibers.
You're untrained have the most growth potential. That's the most benefit for improving metabolic capacity, metabolic health, lowering cancer rates, lowering diabetes rates, all that stuff.
Oh, if you're a lifting slave, all those things can increase. Diabetes and, I don't know, cancer and a bunch of these things. Getting arthritic problems, skin diseases, this will increase it, especially on a artificial fake diet, vegetable diet. How's that going to make you strong? I love it when they say, these gladiators, they eat vegetables. Oh, yeah, yeah, sure, eh? You want to know how to turn people into gay people? Feed them vegetables. Turn them into transgender gay. How do you weaken? How do you get people to become weak? Feed them vegetables. That's how they become weak. How do you get people to have weakened teeth and bones, rotting teeth and rotting bones? Easy. Feed them vegetables. See that? It's kind of simple. That's what Blaha promotes.
Any muscle everywhere is useful to those. That is pretty much a scientific fact at this point. So you see where we're going? So yeah, you should train everything. And here's the other thing. From an aesthetics perspective, we're not even talking about winning bodybuilding shows. We're talking about just looking good. Every single person out there, you know this is true when you look at someone. You're all going to look good. You're going to look extremely impressive to the average person if you actually train every muscle in your body. It doesn't have to be massive. It just needs to be trained. You gain muscle in every single muscle in your body. You diet down lean enough to see your six-pack. Okay? And this applies to women too.
Six-pack.
If you do that, almost every...
If you diet down, you'll see your six pack. That's kind of obvious too, right? But here's the thing, you don't need to diet down. If you're eating your natural food as a carnivore, then why do you need to diet down? You'd be able to see your six pack, because as soon as I went, the more meat, raw meat and fish and everything else that I eat, the more I could see everything. I don't have to work on it. It just went away by itself. Yeah.
One who sees you other than a handful of people, and sometimes it's their own body.
I love when he does these elastics. What's the point, man? What's the point? To use up the energy in the arms? Shrink them? You want to shrink your arms? Do this. Do these elastics a lot like crazy for your arms, and they'll shrink.
That's because they hate fitness because of their own issues. Okay? But is that then jealousy? Right? But to almost everyone who sees you, they're going to say, hey, that person has a nice body. They have a nice physique. Okay? Without fail.
Yeah, sure. That's important to have a nice physique and look good. Look at Blaha. It looks very ordinary. I told you, look how skinny he got. His chest has disappeared. Look, his chest has disappeared. No shoulders, no arms, and no forearms. He's completely disappeared. It's kind of obvious what's going on here, man. I mean, if you can't see it, then I don't know what to tell you. I'll just clip that. Very ordinary.
Even if that's not their thing, it will be noticed. It'll be noticed. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys.
Yes, very informative. I'm not going to follow your advice. See you in the next one, friends. Ciao. Look at him. He looks very ordinary. Very, very ordinary.